Hello again, everybody. Well, we enjoyed our Space Marine build from the Warhammer Alliance set the other week, didn't we? Well, I did anyway. So, looking at the set, and having done that with a group of scouts who I helped with, we're going to have a look at the other part of the Warhammer Alliance set. Now, some of them have changed in the years since they came out, but this is the one that we're currently using, and you may find you find yourself. This is a easy build Stormcast Eternal, a Sequitor, I believe that's what they call them. So it's a easy build model, and we'll have a look through how to put this together and show you what we need. So what you'll find is with a lot of certainly the Warhammer Alliance starter sets and resource packs, is that they come with these rather handy little sprung safety snippers, which are rather nice. They are they've got a bladed edge on them, so do be careful with small people. But they've also got a flat bit here and sort of an indented area here, so they're very good for getting up close to the area where you need to separate any parts of the model. Hence why they bring them out with this particular Alliance pack for budding clubs and war games miniatures makers. So let's have a look. And the instructions that come with it are fairly straightforward. As you see on the sprue, each part is numbered. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, the textured base, and 5, the shield. So what we're going to do is it literally goes in sequence. So place 1 and 2 and 3 on the front, place it into 4 and attach 5. So that's what we're going to do. So again, we're going to go around the actual model, part 1 first of all, and look for where the sprue and the model connect. And we're going to clip it with the flat bit next to what, here, this sort of flat edge here, closest to the edge we want to preserve. So go in here, turn it around. Never be afraid to spin it round how you need it. Nice up close and just pinch through. Nice and simple. There's another attachment point there. And there's a couple here. Get up right close to the armour plate. That and that. And then we'll just do the top of the hammer. I take it it's some sort of war hammer. It would be remiss of it to be not be a war hammer in a game called Warhammer. And there's part 1, or piece number 1. So again, second bit is a little bit more strange looking. Obviously got some sort of cloth areas here, but again, 3 parts to clip, or 3 areas to clip. Of most importance is to be very careful of the little post on the bottom of the foot here. So you see that is actually going to go inside or in the actual textured base. So we're going to cut that off at the bottom here, so we've still maintained the post and that bit there as well. There's part number 2. I'll keep those safe. And part number 3 is the frontispiece and the robes. So again, only a few bits to snip here. And it doesn't look like there's any more posts to worry about there, so we can just quickly simply snip those off there. The shield, nice and straightforward. Let's just keep it nice and into the edge. That means you've got less mould line to remove later. Of course, the base. Now notice it's got a slight edge on the side of there. It's not exactly square on, quite typically with Games Workshop's slaughter bases. But there we are. That's all the pieces cut out and ready to assemble. And here are the parts ready to assemble. Now, as you notice, there's little pegs and holes, so they literally just push together. This is a push-fit model, and you find quite a lot of the early starter sets are like this, and you may still find that some models out there are push-fit. They're a great way of getting into building a model, and they certainly help you not have to worry about glue too much. Though, of course, if you are doing these more permanently, as in you're actually starting a collection, don't be afraid of putting a little blob of super glue once you've got confident with how the models go together. Now, one thing you may need to do is just clean up any mould lines. Now, looking along the edge here, they're fairly clean, but I'm just going to run, now these are mould line remover, or usually part of the actual scrapers themselves, just to scrape off any bits of mould line just around gloves. Sometimes you find yourself following it around, hunting the mould line. I think that's in there somewhere. There's a bit on the top there. It can be a little bit wobbly there, so make sure you just support gently with your finger and just scrape any of the excess plastic away, just to neaten it up. How we're going to be painting this with a collection, a mix of speed paints. It's very important to get as many mould lines off as possible, because the speed paints will pool around any mould lines and draw attention to them slightly more than if we were using more traditional methods of painting. So that's most of them clear. There's a little bit down the side here. Again, they're quite well designed, so the mould lines are quite subtle. You do find them, and they're in good spots to get rid of. So that's enough for that. That will do, as they say. And let's carry around here. Again, we've got the face. There's nothing too much there. There's a little bit here, a little bit of plastic just where we've not quite shaved it off. So we can also use the clippers just to smooth that line off, like that. And here on the edge of the glove, careful of the post here, of course. There we go, because that's going to go into the other pieces, and also the post on his foot. You can shave a little bit of the mould line off under the foot if you want. It's a little bit on the back of his armoured greave there, or shin protector. There we go, just scrape that off. You can also buy specific tools for mould line removal, which don't have a blade on them, and therefore obviously they're able to be sold to younger modelers. But also, if you are an older model, then the back of a craft knife is also a good way of removing those, or also needle files as well, if you have any of those. They're also quite good just for tidying up the model. Quite a bit of a line across his shoulder pad here, so I'm going to get rid of that, just because we do want to be making sure that that's nice and clear. The shoulder pad on these particular models is quite a striking part of the model, so we want that to look as good as possible when we've finished it. Just give it a good scraping over. There we go. These cloth areas here, there's a little bit of mould line there, nothing too mad. And that, I think, will do for that piece. Obviously, any mould lines on the inside of the models, as long as they're clear of any of the connecting pieces, that should be fine. Again, at the bottom, we're just going to nip off where it was connected to the sprue. Just give it a bit of a scrape, smooth it round a bit. But again, we may just black rim the edge of that when we've finished. So again, that won't be overly obvious, and there's nothing too much on the top there. That's all quite neat and tidy. Likewise with the shield, we're just going to take off the edges where we clipped it close to the sprue. Again, the closer you clip it, the less work you have to do on the cleaning process. And just make sure you don't scrape off too many details that you might want to keep. So just have a close look over the model, sort of learn the model as you're cleaning it. Gives you an idea of what details you might have, and maybe inspires you a bit as to perhaps colour schemes or items and parts of it you might want to pick out, like the Thunderbolt hammer here with the anvil type shape on the top. And there we go, that's all the pieces cleaned up and ready for assembly.